Good afternoon, folks. It's September 2nd, 2014. My name is Robert Scott Perry. I'd like you to write my name in instead of Jack Reed's to be your next senator. This week I'm spending before the primary, which is September 9th. Please vote. No matter what, vote. If you don't vote, you don't count. If you don't vote, nobody wants to hear you bitching. I'm pissed off today because Gina Raimondo keeps lying to us with our money. She got $500,000 from Wall Street in donations. After she gave them $2 million, she didn't have to give them to accept our pension business. And by the way, those pensions she keeps bragging that are fixed, it's still not fixed. The courts haven't decided if anything she's done is constitutional or legal or right. And those things should line up. They don't always. So, I'm reviewing commercials. I'm tired of Gina's commercials, bragging about jobs, making beer, something one shouldn't brag about if you want to be a public official, making drugs or beer, which is of course alcohol, the worst drug there is. Those jobs are in New York, Gina. We all know they're in New York. You're bragging about jobs you didn't even bring here. Making beer, which we don't need more of. The other thing you're bragging about, with our money, $500,000 in donations from Wall Street, which makes you a bankster. You're bragging about jobs in an investment firm. Those jobs are gone. You accepted the money from the state of Rhode Island. It was a no bid contract. You accepted the jobs, or rather you accepted the money, you created the jobs short term, and what's left of the company is in Boston. So once again, very few jobs, and they're not even here. The third lie you've told, you didn't tell it directly, that really rubs me the wrong way, is to have a working man, a kind of a biker looking dude, no problem there, a regular guy, a steel worker, iron worker. He blames Angel, who happens to be the type of guy that maybe he wouldn't like anyway if he met him in a bar. But he blames Angel for being out of work. We don't need any more skyscrapers. We have empty skyscrapers right now. So, 3 lies that Gina told with our money that rub me the wrong way. That makes her a bankster. Now, the connection to Jack Reed and to making me a better senator than Jack Reed is what pisses me off about telling this to Gina. You see, the kids, the occupiers, we remember them, they came up with this word bankster. Okay? It means bankers who rip us off instead of doing us good. Banks are supposed to do us good. That's why they get federal insurance. Well, there's a guy. Alright, you wouldn't know him. He's a young guy. You wouldn't know anything about his case. Poor kid. Jeremy Hammond. He'll be in prison probably for the rest of his life. Now, he did some wrong things. He hacked into a computer. The computers of a company called Stratfor, hired by Jack Reed and his military industrial mafia buddies. They hired this company to try to figure out how they could make the word occupier synonymous with terrorist. The reason to do that was to protect the banksters, like Gina. She's a bankster. They run banks for their own benefit, and they hurt the regular working guy. Okay? You're all getting screwed by these banksters. You do remember the financial problems that we had a few years back, don't you? I do. Changed my life. What they're doing, the connection between me being unhappy with Gina Raimondo using our money that she got from Wall Street to lie to us is, of course, just the fact that she's a bankster, and the fact that your kids went out on the street, they went out in the park in Providence, and they camped out to protest these banks stealing our money. They were federally insured, so all their losses went to you. Every working man paid a piece of that federal insurance. They ripped us off. The kids screamed about it. But what Jack Reed has done is he's erased the parts of the Constitution he doesn't like. That's why this guy, Jeremy Hammond, wrong as he may be, deserving of some punishment, perhaps. No, certainly deserving of some punishment for hacking into a computer that was connected to our defense. No question about that. But what he found out was that Jack Reed and his buddies were ready to shoot your son or daughter right between the eyes and call them terrorists for speaking their mind. Now, of course, they put up a tent. That's terrible. In a place that it shouldn't be, that's worse. They spoke loudly, which disturbed someone. But unlike the Tea Party, they didn't carry guns, they didn't threaten the president, and they don't deserve to be called terrorists. It's your children who are at risk. Protect your children, get rid of Jack Reed, disassemble the military-industrial mafia. We will have an enormous defense industry nonetheless. They will have to do better at their job. They will have to make machines that are more selective in the way they do their job. Our industry is not in question. We will always be the center of the military-industrial complex. But to allow that military-industrial complex to have power within our government, that's a mistake. Jack Reed is a mistake. It's a mistake to put millionaires, lawyers, and military-industrial mobsters in the Senate. Jack Reed doesn't belong in the Senate. I do. Robert Scott Perry. I'll protect you from banksters. I'll protect you from military-industrial mobsters. And most of all, I will protect the Constitution.